Ankh Udja Seneb, life, prosperity, and good health to one and all. Queen Reverend Wichi here with Queen of Forces Healing Ministries. Happy 2025. Yes, we're here. The Gregorian cycle for 2024 is now over and we are in the 2025 cycle. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. For those of us who do not honor the Gregorian cycle, that's perfectly fine. For those of us who decide to use that energy for our benefit, that's fine as well. And we really, I just don't understand. I thought I was not going to talk about it, but like really, when you write your date, it's going to say 2025, whether you know we have 13 moon cycles or not, no matter what. This is the schedule that we're running on for the most part. So most of us know that the natural new year is actually in the spring. Most of us know that. And for those of us who don't, that's perfectly fine. Maybe they will get there. But I said this before in another video. As alchemists and metaphysicians, it is our duty to make the choice of whether we want to acknowledge something or not. And then if we are going to acknowledge it, it's up to us to use that energy for our highest and greatest good. We sit here and fuss about they, them, the powers that were, as many people say, using certain cycles for their own purposes and selfish reasons and whatnot, which very well is true. But if we are the alchemists and metaphysicians we say we are, it's time for us to take our power back and harness that energy for ourselves. Don't let them just take it and do what they want to do with it. We take our power back and we decide what we're going to do with that energy. And when you have a metaphysical understanding of certain things, it just changes. Like, it's really not that important for it to be getting all uptight about, really. Because I just feel like in the spiritual, woke, conscious community, sometimes it's like we become the same people we didn't like. For example, religious folks telling us to do this, telling us to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And then now we're saying the same thing to other people. The solstice, from the solstice time, from winter solstice to January 6th, what would be Epiphany or Three Kings Day in the liturgical calendar, is very important, sacred time. As a metaphysician, use the energy to help yourself and the world instead of wasting energy fussing about it. I mean, educating people on it is one thing, but to just be like, yeah, I ain't got no business acknowledging 2025, it ain't the new year yet. With just a little bit of research, just a little bit, we can find out that there are New Year celebrations in various times throughout the year, various cultures, and it's really, really okay for us to once again harness the energy for our own highest and best. It's time to be real alchemists. And I'm saying that to myself too. It's time to be a real alchemist. For real, for real. Like, there's no such thing as somebody else's calendar able to just knock us off that bad where we just have to spend time fussing with other people about acknowledging it. Harness the energy and use it for some healing, okay? That's my tidbit on that. Now, I wanted to talk about what not my message, but what Spirit was giving me thus far. Don't feel like the message is complete per se, but I was guided to go ahead and give what I had on January 1st. So hopefully this will be uploaded on January 1st. I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of late. But I was just thinking last week about the new Gregorian cycle, right? And what is the energy or the message for the people. The first thing that came to my mind was an image of the star card in tarot. If you're familiar with tarot, you know the star card is a major arcana card. The major arcana cards are major, which is why they're named that. They have heavy influence. They are things that you can't really avoid, like divine intervention, divine will, that kind of idea. So with the star card, I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, the star card, usually when we think about it or see it, it's like a card of hope, healing, peace, inspiration, enlightenment, all those things, guidance. Because when I think about the star card, I automatically think about the North Star and how many people use the stars and the North Star for guidance, for travel. You know, just like Los Tres Reyes, the Three Kings, on Three Kings Day, you know, or during this time, supposedly, you know, when they made that trip. So let me get the card out so I can show you. And it was like the more that I kind of saw the card in my spiritual vision, it didn't come across like so happy to me in a complete sense. So it's kind of like it came with the positive and the negative, although it came upright. So here it is. This is the star card, and this deck is the Rider-Waite Smith deck. Rider-Waite is one of those decks that's kind of like the universal tarot deck. I do have my other most favoriteest deck here, Miss Cleo deck, and I'll pull that one out. So as you see here, it's also about, you know, being open, being vulnerable, which is what the nakedness is about. Just, you know, shedding it all, humbleness, being straight up front. And the star card is Aquarius energy. We will soon be in the zodiac season of Aquarius towards the end of this month. And that's also the time of the Chinese New Year. Don't know if I said that earlier or not. But anyway, if I did, then you got it twice. So this card, to me, it's a beautiful card. You know, if you see here, it reminds me of libation here. Also balance. We have, you know, this woman here pouring the water out in the water and in the earth. Balance of elemental forces there. Earth and water are both feminine forces. And so, again, usually when we think about this card, it's hope, healing, inspiration, all those good things. And it also, you know, we have this big star, this 8-pointed star, and we have 7 smaller stars around it, which still ends up as a total of 8. And the number of this card is 17. So looking at this card, when I was envisioning it the other day, thinking about it, I was like, okay, so as a message for the collective for the new year, keep hope alive. It's a thought that came to mind. Keep hope alive. And already today, if you've been scrolling on your phone or have been in any way connected to the Matrix, you probably know there's been some terrible things going on as soon as 2025 was coming in. And that's the kind of the feeling that I was getting when I kept hearing keep hope alive, because it's like a lot of things that are unpleasant will be happening. And that's the case all the time. Stuff is always happening that we don't like. But for this card to come out, and then the feeling that I was getting with it, it's like, you know what? the crash out stuff is going to continue majorly, and it's going to cause some, what's the word? The consequences of crash outs are going to be serious, because even though this is the star card, I feel a lot of justice energy, karmic energy with this, and some stuff is just got to go, and judgment energy as well. Like, it just, justice and judgment to me go hand in hand anyway. But foolishness has got to stop, and we're going to be seeing that, as well as this, as well as the hope and healing that, and inspiration and guidance. We're also going to be seeing, again, the people crashing out and the consequences behind that, because things have to change. There's so many things going on in the world that just almost are just nuts. And it's like, the only way some things can change is if there are harsh consequences. I know I was just saying to my mama earlier today, I said, if we were really doing eye for eye, crime would go down big time. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. And as an alchemist, if you're an alchemist, whether you know it or not, you are, sometimes fire needs water, but sometimes you fight fire with fire. And it's going to take us remembering that there is still hope when things look bad, because the energy has to be cleansed and purged, and purging and cleansing and healing is not a fun process for the most part. You're going to have some great times. You're going to have some great insights and all of this inspiration, wonderful things happening, but it is not just fun and games to heal and to change ideas and change ideals, rather, mentality and collective energy. Especially when so many of us are allowing our alchemical skills to be to lie dormant. I have to check myself about that. I may not be as active as I would like to be on social media and doing what I'm doing, but I have to at least be more consistent, because there's no need for me to complain about the energy in the world if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do to help create positive change and healing. So we have to hold on to hope. We have to meditate, pray, ground, energy healing, all the wonderful things that we need to do to take care of ourselves spiritually and mentally and emotionally need to be done on a consistent basis, even if it's 3 minutes a day. We really don't have an excuse to not be consistent. Now, we can fall off the bandwagon sometime, and then we just got to get back up and keep it going again. Simple as that. As simple as that. I remember also, this is just, I didn't take notes like I should have, but I'm remembering now something else that I was getting as a message. It is a wonderful time, and it's pretty much necessary. Remember, I mentioned meditation just now. Hypnosis and things that deal with getting to our subconscious mind is going to be very important and helpful. Because something that I also remember from my message from last year, I was telling people to be careful about watching mainstream media on a regular basis. And what I have begun to do more regularly was, like, if I know I'm about to watch something, because sometimes you just scroll through your phone and stuff is just there, and you saw something you didn't necessarily want to see. So that's another reason why we need to keep up our prayer and meditation anyway, because we can't control everything that we're going to see and hear. And those things can affect us negatively. So if I know I'm going to watch something on TV that's not like conducive to the energy that I would like to be under, then I have to make sure that I like do a quick visualization, prayer, or something to help shield myself, and watch just enough to get the information and be out, you know. And a lot of times I don't necessarily watch the news media, mainstream media outlets themselves. Sometimes I just watch certain other people that show certain clips and get like the highlights and stuff that's going on, because it's just not helpful for me. I don't need to know all the details of everything anyway. So our subconscious mind is always at work, always listening, always paying attention. So when we're sleeping, it is beneficial for us to either play like healing frequencies, turn on Reiki videos, do some Reiki on yourself if you are a practitioner before you go to and rest, pray before we sleep, meditate ourselves into sleep, say some positive affirmations for protection over our mind, body, spirit, and our environment as we rest. Just consistency for protecting our energy is so important. The energy that they need is going to be harder to get if we are not constantly feeding into things. And again, the least we can do is to pray and do things to try to protect our energy as we are listening to and or viewing certain things, because nowadays any and everything can be seen. Like it's not too much left to the imagination anymore. And so the anxiety that people have nowadays is steady ramping up, because it's just like we're just bombarded. We got all these screens. Things are different, you know. I was growing up, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have flat screens, none of that stuff. Shoot, and I grew up in the country too. We didn't get cable till 1996 down that dirt road. Matter of fact, that's when the road got paved that I was living on. In 96, the road got paved, and they brought some cable down there to where we live. And it's just so different and so easy. So those healing frequencies and prayers that we can play on YouTube, on our devices, even when we're asleep, like that is important. Energy is real. Energy can be affected and changed, and that is just what it is. And so it is up to us, and once again, as alchemists, to shift our energy, use energy for our highest and best good. So guard your minds, and we just do our best to guard our children's mind. It's difficult many times, but it's possible. So I wanted to show you like the star card in the Miss Cleo deck, because this is the energy that I was like picking up really on the star card. But the Rider-Waite one is the one that I saw, that one that I envisioned, right? About the hope. But the energy of the star card in the Miss Cleo deck looks and feels differently. This is why intuition and paying attention to things is so important when it comes to tarot, because no matter what deck you use, even with the same cards, the message can be different. So as you see here, we still have a person that's pouring the water out into the water here, because Aquarius energy is the water bearer, although it is an air sign. So pause this for a minute. The air sign of Aquarius, the air energy, this is something else I didn't write down, I'm remembering now. The air energy is important, and that's our mind, our intellect. Once again, we're going to focus on taking care of our minds, particularly our subconscious mind. We're going to consciously take care of our subconscious mind. Affirmations, very important as well. And hearing, listening, speaking, our thoughts, psychology, that's air energy. We have to take care of our minds. So this is the type of energy that, was like concerning, because he looks like he's thinking, oh, I need some help. Help me, help me, help me. It's like maybe I'm pouring out this libation, begging my spirit team for some help because things are rough. I feel like things are taking my mind. That's maybe the energy here. I may feel like things are taking my mind from me. I may be stressed out. A lot of stuff may be going on around me. And I want to pour libation out. I want to pour my heart out. I want to pour my soul out. I want to pray. I want to cry. I want to let you know that I need your help. I really do need your help. Come and do something about this situation. And we're being reminded. Hold on to that hope. Give your offerings. Say your prayers. Do not be afraid. If you do find yourself feeling fear or operating in fear, then return to the hope and the peace that Spirit is offering us, the guiding light. And many of us also need to check into mentorship. Guiding light can show up as mentorship in some way. We may be mentors to somebody else, and we may also need to be a mentee to someone else. So that's something to think about as well. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable with people that love you and that you love. Don't be afraid to cry out to Spirit for help if that's what you need. The crash out is real. Protect your minds. Protect your spirit the best way you can. Have hope in yourself, in your spirit team, and know that no matter how tough things will look, there's going to be, it's always like this, really, though. The up and the down. Even though I don't have the Wheel of Fortune here, the Wheel of Fortune energy is here because I just saw it in my mind, the Wheel of Fortune card. Some of us are going to be on top of that wheel, and some of us are coming down because that's the cycle that's happening right now. So if you do not do your best to be a positive force in the world, if you have been selfish, if you have cheated people, if you have whatever on the wrong side of the tracks, that wheel is coming down and you're going down with it. And other people are coming up because it is time for a shift in energy. And once again, this is not always pretty and peaceful. Change isn't always easy, but it has to happen. Hold on to hope that all truly is well. There's power in vulnerability. There's strength and courage in vulnerability. But be divinely guided. Be divinely guided. Use your discernment. When you're going places, make sure you pray before you leave the house, say your affirmations, splash on some Florida water, whatever kind of little stuff you got, Do your things. Do your things. Contact me for a reading, yes, because you need one. And for 2025, if you book a reading for the year, which is different from a general reading, if you book a reading for the year, we will have a card for each month. We will look over each month, and we will have not collective, but general energy for you. We will get some good information, good insights, and guidance for you personally throughout the year. Okay? You can check my linktree /Queen of Forces for my Google Calendar to book You can also email queenofforces@gmail.com and communicate that way and get it figured out. But book your reading, get the guidance that you need. And when you go to the calendar, you will see, other options. If you want energy healing, if you want a mediumship reading, if you want a reading that's maybe not necessarily mediumship, but you don't want to use cards, that's fine too. I don't have to use cards. Spirit gonna say what it needs to say. Okay, tarot healing is my specialty, but we don't have to use cards. All right. Once you decide that you want to open up and have a reading with me, then the information will come however it needs to come. All right. So I hope this has been helpful. If Spirit gives me more for 2025, I will share that. But for now, I think that's it. The star card. So study the star card and stay tuned. If you're interested in taking a tarot class with me, you can email me about that too. Coming up in the spring, I'm offering another major arcana class for Yukon, their Ali program, and that could be found at, is it ali.yukon.edu or yukon.ali? That's a shame. I should know that before I say something. But I think it's ali.yukon.edu. But anyway, because I'm a tarot professor, y'all. And I was a professor anyway. But now I'm a tarot professor and tarot healing specialist. So keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Nobody can take the hope out of your heart but you. Don't allow anybody to destroy your hope. May the force of healing be with you now and throughout 2025. Ashe.